Welcome again to my channel, and I have a problem with birds in my garden. These were transplanted 2 days ago. This is the Chorai Baji, and as you can see, this one has been completely eaten off by birds. Now you'll notice I don't have any CDs here. For those of you new to the channel, I have a problem with birds, and I recently introduced these CDs, which is doing quite a good job. These have not been affected since the introduction of the CDs. But as you could see, in this corner here, which is well hidden by these plant pots, so that bird had a feast there. So I'm going to introduce a CD here and see if that plant could catch back up some leaves, and it will be a good experiment today, because definitely that bird is going to come back today to eat this plant. So if this plant survives the end of the day, the CD really is doing a good job. So I'm going to introduce a CD here. And I'm just sticking it in the ground like that. That should do the trick. Yesterday, I relocated this trough. I placed it on the eastern side of these plants, so it's going to get sunlight up to midday. I did not have to wet this plant in the afternoon, so I just gave it another wet. And I'm doing this particularly for people who have to work and they would not be home to wet their garden, so we'll be observing it. As you could see, the parsley here, we hardly ever wet this, and it's doing really well. As you can see here, these are well protected also. I introduced a CD on this side. I'm leaving it open so that there is enough ventilation in here. The plastic is not affecting the plants in terms of heat. It's actually creating better humidity for the plants, sort of like a greenhouse effect. As you can see, I watered in that plant well. That's about a gallon of water. And that's going to take care of that plant for the entire day. These hot pepper plants and pimentos are doing really good in this shaded area. They are getting away from the harsh 11 o'clock sun. And when it's midday, this plant here is going to offer some shade. So this is a good location for hardening of these plants. This is a bag of manure that I collected. It's fresh cow dung, and what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to turn over that bag, open it up, get some oxygen in it, and then I'll close it back up. As you can see, I have some torn newspapers in there. This is very rich in nitrogen. So every day I'm going to be adding some newspapers to these. And that's going to help break down this manure faster. As you can see, the manure is already breaking apart. Here I have some scraps, vegetable scraps, also some newspapers, and I'm simply just going to turn this container over. Some may fall out. Let me just... So there's also some cow dung there. And that's that. Every day I just keep flipping this. We begin to get some nice bloom from this bougainvillea. It's a beautiful color. All these plants you see in here, Liba is the person responsible for setting all these plants. And while she isn't here, Mom and I are keeping them in order. These are crown of thorns. Give this one a little bead. Some bromeliads. Oregano. These body seeds was set 5 days ago. And I have some transplants here. They're beginning to show some signs as they are catching up. Now, in here, it's Kariley seeds. They have not sprouted as yet. They were placed into the ground 5 days ago together with the body, but the Kariley seed is quite hard. So I'm expecting maybe next 2-3 days we should hopefully see signs of growth. So the plan for today is I have these 3 containers ready and waiting with soil. I am contemplating to put some pak choy in the Carib case and maybe a sweet pepper each here. So we'll see how that goes. Also on this side here, I have this piece of soil that is already prepared. It could do with some perlite. The soil is a bit on the heavy side. So if I get the perlite today, I will show you all how I'm going to further prepare this little piece in preparation for more pak choy next week. I'd like to thank everybody that is commenting, all the people that is sending encouragement. I appreciate it very much. A lot of people are asking questions. I'm trying my best to answer them. Somebody made a lovely comment that spring is embarking and the videos, it's the perfect timing for them. A lot of people asking questions about soil, about fertilizing. Approximately about 8 months ago, I started this channel. I did a really good video where I got materials and I mixed some lovely potted soil. Well, let me tell you guys, I don't have any footage of the garden itself, but that garden was a hit. So definitely the soil mixture that you're about to see, it was a great success. However, must bear 2 things in mind. At the moment that I mixed that soil, it was the rainy season. You will notice that I used a lot of perlite in it. And the reason why I did that, I wanted the soil to be very light so that it could drain properly. However, if I have to mix that same soil, I will do two different things. Definitely, I will decrease on the amount of perlite, maybe to 1 bucket, and replace that bucket with 1 bucket of organic matter, such as potted soil, or if you have compost. So bear that in mind. Remember, in the dry season, you definitely want a soil that is going to be holding more moisture. So take a look at this clip, guys, and I hope you enjoy. I am in a ravine currently, and I am looking for something that is more gravelly than stony. And I found myself a nice deposit. Let me show you what this stuff looks like. I have my 2 buckets there, and I have my spade. So, this is one of my key ingredients, right? So let me gather this up and head back up the road. Guys, little by little, you could carry home a ton of stuff, right? I have a lot of pots home already, and this is what I've been doing. There's a little 2 buckets each trip. All right, guys. So I have everything here ready to mix my soil, right? I have 2 gallons of perlite, half bag of compost, 1 bucket of river gravel and limestone. And this is my basic mix, right? After this is when the plants begin to establish, I will add in things like blue corn, maybe some cow manure, right? So let me show you the setup here. Now this river gravel, there are some stones in it which I would like to remove. So I have this little sifter that I made here. I made it that it could fit nicely over the wheelbarrow. So I'm going to set up my camera and I'm going to begin the process. All right. So the first thing I'm looking to do is sift out my gravel, right? Anna, thanks once again for the gloves. You see how I'm utilizing it, right? Right. And I'll empty about half of the bucket, right? I'm not in a rush. I'm doing this for relaxation purposes. I'm not doing this for anything commercial, right? So I just enjoy my day and doing my thing. Right. Earthworms, good sign. Which means to say that there is some organic matter in here. To find an earthworm, mean to say we have living organisms inside of here, right? So you see, you don't want this in the garden. And we move on to the other half. So, if I didn't mention as yet, if you do have this kind of stuff available to you, right? This is equivalent to sharp sand. But as I said, this may actually have some more organic material in it, right? So the next thing I will add to this, I'm going to add the half bag of compost. All right. I'll usually spread this around a bit. Break it up one time. Good, rich, dark stuff. Now, we're going to add the perlite. Now, you may not have noticed this, right? But while I was spreading this, I was holding my breath. It has a lot of dust. I really don't know if it's harmful. You see it blowing, right? So if you want, and in particular, you can put on a face mask, right? So as we added the perlite, what does perlite do? Perlite makes the soil very light, right? It also helps in retaining a bit of moisture, right? But generally, it will help keep a lot of air inside of the soil, right? Final ingredient. This is hydrated lime. And I don't work with any specific measurement. Just like when you're making roti, I look in, let's spread some around evenly. I have never had any issues like this causing my plants to burn or anything like that, right? So, we basically have all the ingredients in here. And now it's time to mix up. While you're mixing up, you're breaking up all the clumps, right? You're trying to bring the gravel up to the top. I could tell already the soil is becoming very light because of the perlite in particular and the compost. So you basically making your own potting soil here, right? If you have to buy this, it will be about double the price because remember, people have to purchase these things and they're definitely going to put 100% markup on it. I can already feel that this is going to be perfect, right? So I'll pause there for a while and then we'll go to some potting. All right, so I have myself here 6 hot pepper plants. My intention is I want to try 3 in pots, right? Bring them up to a substantial size, then transplant them into the ground. But the other 3, I'm going to actually put them in the ground and see what kind of results we get. So we're going to pot out 3 hot pepper plants right now, right? Make sure there are a lot of holes in your soil. Right? They say it's not good to handle plants by the stem, but I can't help it. Something that I do. I make a little hole, stick it in, and not too far above where the stem of the plant starts, right? Now I went a little higher because when I water this planting, the soil is going to settle. Notice I am not packing the soil, right? The water is going to do that for me, right? So I'm going to put out the other two, and then we're going to put some tomatoes. So once again, I have 6 tomato plants. I'm going to try 3 in pots, and I'm going to try 3 directly into the ground. Now, when you're planting tomatoes, right, it's recommended that you plant them deep, right? What happens is that if you notice along the tomato stem, you will see some tiny little hairs. Well, those actually grow into roots. So I'm going to try to plant these tomato plants deep into the pot and fill it up with the soil. So I'm going deep as possible. Try to center the plant. Keep it upright. And it's as simple as that. The pot is extremely light. That is what you're looking for. Of course, when you add water to this, the pot will become heavier. But could you imagine if you had just used soil directly from your garden, right? In about 2 weeks' time, that soil in there is going to become very, very hard, right? Roots going to be in trouble. And once the plants do have sufficient roots, well, you're on to a good start for fungus and bacteria and that sort of thing, right? So here's the plan. The other plants that I'm going to be trying in the ground, I'll be breaking up the ground a bit, right? Not too much, because it's rainy season. You don't want to end up in a situation where you make too much of a deep hole and now that's collecting water, right? So I'm just going to break the soil a bit, gather up some soil from the surrounding area, mix in some of this, and then put my plant, right? So when that time reaches, we'll see.
Hope you really enjoyed that old footage. It was something else for me to watch also. I would like to thank everybody once again for your continuous support. I do hope that if you have not started your garden as yet, do so. I encourage you. It's rewarding, it's relaxing, it is everything. There's nothing nicer than seeing a plant progress. And don't be discouraged if you come home one day and maybe a bird eat your plant down. See it as a challenge. See it as a challenge. What am I going to do? What can I try next? So don't give up. Never give up. Keep planting. Until tomorrow, please God, stay blessed.